A feel-good Portsmouth campaign has just been launched by Insight for Life. Its aim is to support children suffering from depression or bullying by teaching them how to be happy and enable them to cope with a crisis. Joining me in the studio now to tell us more is Siva. Gary, thank you very much for coming in. So just tell us a bit about this project, because it's not your kind of normal run-of-the-mill scheme that we often see.
Not at all. It's come from an idea that was basically had 10 years ago, which was, I'm a physical therapist, and it was the ability to get to people who would never particularly disclose about a problem. So rather than waiting till people get to crisis point, getting them the expert information sort of anonymously so they can explore it, self-empower and move forward. So that's where the idea came from. And over the last 10 years, we've built up this system called Zoomos. Now, Zoomos, when a school takes Zoomos, every child gets an anonymous login in secondary schools so that they can start to explore anything. So it might be from sexual abuse, bullying, through to I've fallen out with my best friend, or I don't know how to make friends. Gives them the information they need to understand how to move forward. It then gives them web links, helplines, video support, what the school wants them to do. So they're self-empowered. They can actually move forward.
So is it like a login to a sort of online portal or a login to a website? That's what it is, exactly the login. And then on the website there are all sorts of resources that they can access.
Yes. But this is all about the individual. It's not about what the school or anybody else wants them to do. This is about a person being able to self-empower and learn life skills, how to move forward, how to be positive. And that's where Feel Good Portsmouth came from, because the system is set up in such a way that we want to give everybody a Zoomos login. So we're collaborating with Solent CAMS.
So you and I would have them as well, then?
Yes,
not only people in schools.
Absolutely.
We'd all be given
these.
Okay.
These logins, and then as well as dealing with crisis, we look at ourselves as a little bit of a disruptor in the market. So rather than wait till people get to crisis point, we want to build resilience so that people learn life skills. They learn how to think positively. So we're starting that right in primary school with daily short recordings. Now, everything on the site is expert written, peer reviewed, and it's gone through a due diligence process. So it all gets kite marked and recognized as the right information. Now, these daily short recordings are played out, and they're just simple little mind techniques to show how maybe language you use affects you as a person. So you don't have negative self-talk, or little techniques you can do to make yourself feel good.
These recordings are played out in schools?
They're played out
what, kind of over a tannoy system or something? Or
it's during registration usually.
Okay.
But it might be played out in assembly, or they'll be encouraged to log into Zoomos with their username and password to listen to it.
And when you've given all these youngsters their logins, how many of them actually use them? And how many of them use them regularly?
That is the big thing about engagement. So when a school takes it, it's a whole school system. So every teacher encourages the use of this because it's recognized that it has this strength to, or this power to make a difference and actually build resilience. So a school is motivated to engage this. And we have so many schools now approaching us for this system because we probably recognise that mental health issues are very, very high on the agenda. And when we get to read a school's need, really you can see that it's on a very negative spiral. There's a lot of issues.
So out of the schools that kind of are using it at the moment, and all of the pupils, as you said, get a login, how many pupils actually end up using the system regularly?
A lot of people are using it. And because it's anonymous, what we're finding is they are accessing it in the evenings, weekends. A lot of boys access it because, typically a lot of boys won't talk about issues if they have it. So what they can actually do is they can explore this anonymously and get the information they need for something that they might be worrying about.
Some people might say that this is a kind of sort of outsourcing lessons that really should be led by, qualified teachers in classes face-to-face with children. And what essentially is happening is that instead of having engagement with a human, what schools are now able to do is just say, look guys, if you're worried, go and look at this in your own time, because we've got to pass exams and all the rest of it. So now your mental health can be the concern of this great website, and we won't worry about it anymore.
Well, there's 2 points there. Teachers aren't qualified psychologists. So they're there to teach what their subject matter experts for whatever that happens to be, maths, etc. But they have to deal with people's well-being as well. So, as we say, they're not qualified to deal with that. Therefore, this resource, everything on it is written by child psychologists, it's approved by CAM, so experts have written this information. And once again, as we say, it's the whole point of this system is that people, in order to disclose or speak to somebody, they have to reach a point of crisis. This is about, firstly, exploring before they're at that stage, so they can explore what to do in a self-empowered way, but more importantly, how to prevent themselves from getting to that point of crisis in the first place. So really the teachers aren't qualified to teach that, therefore, but just by delivering this during school time, as we say, during registration, it's not in curriculum, this is actually slowly, as well as learning academically, they're also learning life skills, which currently really aren't taught in schools.
Well, Gary, it sounds like a fascinating initiative, and I'm sure it will have lots of success. Thank you very much for coming in and telling us about it.
My pleasure.